Welcome back. Ayo, this is your segment, and so where your fans
Welcome to the sports segment of the weekend show. Well, I'm not here with guests, I'm here with the in-house hosts.
Are you proud of me? I'm supporting Nigeria.
Yeah, it's quite unusual, but yeah, that's good, that's good. I'm seeing you, I saw you this morning, I'm like, this is supposed to be me and me. So, I mean, it's exciting to see that, you know, the AFCON is here already. You know, there's a lot going on. Ivory Coast hosting for the second time, housing hundreds and millions, you know, of African guests, fans, you know, well-wishers and cultural backgrounds across the continent. The biggest football tournament on the continent is kicking off in Ivory Coast today. Ivory Coast will be playing Guinea at 8 p.m. and the opening ceremony will start by 6. But I mean, I'm on the hot seat today, guys, so grill me.
Okay, of course, I'm supporting Nigeria.
Obviously.
And with the game tomorrow with Equatorial Guinea, am I right? Who do you think would win?
It has to be Nigeria. We don't have a choice. We really don't have a choice than to win. There's a lot of things going on with the national team in terms of the preparation game, the loss to Guinea in the preparation game, and a lot of people were quite displeased, you know, as to what happened. So you're looking at you're looking at it from a context where they need something to research themselves. They need to tell the African continent and the Nigerian fans at large who have been craving for a championship. They need to start the tournament strong. So however they start the tournament is heavily dependent on how Nigerians, you know, support them from beginning to the end.
Another thing with our national, the Super Eagles, a good number of them, right, you know, are not playing.
Yeah.
For example, Wilfred Ndidi.
Yes.
What does this say to the present team that are going to participate?
Yeah, not just Wilfred Ndidi. There's Wilfred Ndidi who never even made it to camp.
Yeah.
While the camp was on, one of the biggest stars in the German Bundesliga, and also a young star too, someone I was looking forward to be a highlight in this Super Eagles team, Victor Boniface, was also ruled out for 6 weeks. He's successfully had his injury, surgery done, and you know, he's recuperating. Then a couple of days ago, Sadiq Umar from Real Sociedad also picked up a knee injury, 3 weeks out for 3 weeks. Kelechi Iheanacho is still a bit doubtful. We're still hearing, you know, news and rumors that they might, if isn't confirmed yet, they might leave him out. So you look at that, the context of it as a whole is the team now lacks solidity in the middle in terms of Ndidi. Victor Boniface was a player who was going to bring a new kind of dynamism into the team. It looks like as if he's not going to be there. But also, Sadiq Umar to also present aerial threat because of his height. But then if you look at the substitutes that they brought in for them, they look quite, you know, like for like. They took out Victor Boniface and brought in Terry Murphy, who plays in the League One with OG Nice. So that's a perfect, you know, that's a perfect replacement, and they're actually friends. They took, as Sadiq Umar left, Paul Onachu was slotted back into same, you know, almost the same height, even not even taller. So like for like, so you have to give that. We have a really large pool of players to pick from.
We do have a large pool of players, and maybe it may just work for us because sometimes our biggest problem is like an all-star team. Everybody is a big name and everyone wants to score. So maybe it's even better with this. But
work in our favor.
And work in our favor. But I've seen some people complain about the timing of AFCON, which I personally find irrelevant because the Euros just happened and they didn't care whether any other league was playing. Do you think it's a justifiable argument that you cannot put AFCON in the hottest period during the Premier League and all the other leagues?
It's a discussion that, you know, a lot of people have been having. And the reason is that, the context for the people's reaction to it is the back and forth with, should we let players come, should we not let players come? That has always been the issue. Because if you look at
Who decides?
The governing bodies. Okay. Oh, in terms of players coming?
Yeah.
It's, first of all, players are obligated, and by FIFA, you must participate in your competition. But then clubs also still have holds in terms of it. So look at it, when the Premier League, and you're in the league season, Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, all of them are within the match day 18 to 20. They have at least plus or minus 18 more matches to go. Imagine losing your star player at AFCON for your 3 weeks tournament and you have 18 more matches to go. Victor Boniface is going to miss at least 4 to 5 matches from his club. That's a big deal. Mohamed Salah is going to miss matches. Victor Osimhen is going to miss matches with Napoli. So they are very, very instrumental players on their club side. So you can understand why the clubs whine and pout about it, but they don't have a choice. They have to release them. But that's where the timing now comes in. Except the governing body is going to look at the timing and say, you know what, let's move it to the same period of the Euros. Euros is actually happening after the season. World Cup happened during the season, but there was a pause globally for the World Cup. Copa America happens before the season. And then the Asian Cup and the AFCON are the ones that happen during this period. But the AFCON, because of how big it is, because of the superstars that are involved, it's always the talk of the town. So except the governing body are going to look at it and say, you know what, let's move it to the same period as the Euros and then have two major tournaments going on at the same time. But then at the end of the day, AFCON always happens in January.
Yeah. Sentiment aside, how well do you think the Super Eagles will do?
From a personal perspective, I want them to go all the way. Looking at it from an analyst perspective, the first issue is get out of the group stage. Win your first match, start on a high, because the second match, I've been saying to everybody, is the most dicey match. We're playing Ivory Coast. They are the hosts. It's going to be a big match. And you're looking at it from this aspect. If Super Eagles win their first game against Guinea, when they win their first game against Guinea tomorrow, Equatorial Guinea, everybody will be looking at, they need to win Ivory Coast game so they can qualify. If they don't win or lose, or if they don't win the first game or they draw their first game, there's a lot of pressure on them on the second game that they must win if they don't want to exit and go back home. So it's probably their biggest game in the tournament. So it's very important that their first game goes their way. But in terms of how would they perform, we have superstars. You know, one of the biggest African stars, Victor Osimhen. Everybody talks about, even fans from Napoli.
Not
Italy,
one of the biggest. Give it to him.
the biggest African superstar, the biggest youngster in Africa. Even fans from Naples in Italy have flown to Ivory Coast just to watch him play. That's how big he is as a superstar. He's still regarded as one of the highest paid players in the world and within the age group. And there's him, there's the likes of Chukwueze, Ademola Lookman that plays for Atalanta, and a lot more of them in that squad. Ahmed Musa, the veteran, in there too. So we take it step by step. If you get the first 3 points, find a way around Ivory Coast, 6 points in the bag, then you can relax. Then you look at how you fare the third game. But then once the group stage is out of it, it now becomes a game of you snooze, you lose. Because the knockout stages is that's what happened to us in the last AFCON. We won our group stages, we were out of the group stage, and our first threat was Tunisia, and we lost. And our first major attack against us, and we lost, and we were out.
You know my biggest problem with this Nigerian football teams, whenever we go for competitions, our first 3 matches, it's always win one, draw one, lose one. I hope someone else loses. Let's get in. We always turn to mathematicians during this time. And a crucial part of a team is the goalkeeper.
Yes.
What's your analysis of our goalkeeping squad?
I think it's been woeful since Vincent Inyama. I think everybody agrees. He's the best we've ever had. I never got to watch the Peter Rufai's or the Ikeshi Removes, no shit in either of them, but I watched Vincent Inyama right from when I was a kid, and he was a spectacular goalkeeper, hailed from the MPFL. And since his departure, we've never had any. The only person that's come close to him is Chiamaka Nadozie, the current goalkeeper with the Super Falcons. Exactly. But he has every other goalkeeper that's come after him, they've not lived up to this. He left a really big shoe. It's probably as big as the studio, and nobody has been able to fill it. And then you look at, but then we have Uzoho, who has been there, and he's not really performed as people would have expected him to perform. And there's been a lot of calls for him to be dropped, for him to be sidelined. But the coach, he has the backing of the coach. And that's one thing, when a player has the backing of the coach, he needs to now step up. So they've criticized him a lot, but the coach has refused to drop him, which is fine. I mean, it's a coach decision at the end of the day. But now, his own work for him is he needs to go there and needs to show that the coach has believed in me, I need to prove myself. And he's a very crucial part of this game because African football is very physical and there are a lot of long-range shots and, it comes with a lot of vigor. So he needs to step up. And this is a stage, I think this is his last stretch. If he doesn't perform here, I don't think he'll be in the squad moving on.
I understand there are about 24 countries participating.
Yes, 52 matches.
Yeah, who are your top 5?
Top 5. Do you want me to be sentimental about it?
No, be analytical.
So I'm looking at Morocco. They were the biggest team on the continent. They represented Africa at the World Cup. They got to the semi-finals, historical. So I'm seeing them in the first position. Probably Senegal. They are the defending champions. It's hard to take out the defending champion. And then Nigeria. Hopefully, we are the team with the highest bronze medal, but I would want us to repeat. And our mantra is let's do it again, so I want us to do it again. And then that's 3, and then you have Egypt and Ivory Coast to host.
Okay, I was wondering if you would add Ivory Coast. Final question, there was this huge dance and there's this huge blah, blah, about who is going to show it. As of last week, when you and I had the conversation, I didn't know where I was going to watch this. Next thing, we heard Super Sports was going to show it. I was like, oh, this is great. Do I have to pay for the DStv again? Then next thing, NTA and start time. So what was that dance about? AIT. And so, of course, I'm going to watch it on AIT. We all know about. Tell us, what was that dance about?
So it goes back into, you know, business. It's a lot of business and business proceedings. So there's a new broadcasting network called the New World TV. So they got rights to, they aired the FIFA World Cup in 2022, and the basis around it was they aired it in sub-Saharan African countries. So that was like their pilot, their launch project. But since then, they've been able to acquire the rights to host the AFCON. But then because of their coverage, they're not as big as the DSTVs of this world, the Super Sports of this world. So when it got to days leading up to the tournament, people, DSTV event, MultiChoice came out and said, you know, we're not airing them. People fled up. So I think it goes down into agreements and finances and everything. You know, from what I heard, rumors, what I heard is, you know, the bargaining, you know, wasn't what CAF was offering. MultiChoice didn't want it, and back and forth. And then days later, Sky Sports says we're going to air all games. Canal Sports said the same thing. Star Time said the same thing. So I think the DSTV are sitting and looking like, you know, they can't be sitting ducks. And there's a lot of backlash in the media, like, how is the biggest broadcast network on the African continent not airing the biggest competition of the African continent? So I think maybe that's what
it's now also said. Aya Adams will be giving us constant feedback, and we'll be having you join us on video, so find a way to do that. We'll get all our updates on the AFCON Cup. We are supporting Nigeria, and we hope we will win. AIT would also be showing it, so please watch AFCON, support Nigeria. Aya Adams, thank you so much for all that you do. We look forward to updates from you on the field. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Aisha B is back with the entertainment segment. Don't go away.